Hey there, how's it going? I hope you're doing great. I'm your storyteller and I'm here to take you deep into some chilling horror tales, straight from the dark side of roommates. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel and smash that like button. I'd love to know where you're watching from and what time it is for you right now, so drop it in the comments. When you're ready, find a comfortable spot, dim the lights, relax. And let's step into the shadows together. It was 2 a.m. when Alex, a 28-year-old living alone in a small apartment in an old part of town, couldn't sleep. The streets outside were empty and silent, the sky covered with dark clouds, and the cold wind made the city feel abandoned. He moved toward the window, hoping a little fresh air might calm his restless mind. That's when he saw them, his own eyes staring at him from the darkness outside. At first, he thought it was a reflection, a trick of the glass, but then the window fogged up, as though someone, or something, was breathing on it from the other side. His hand trembled as he touched the cold glass, and the eyes outside blinked. His reflection didn't move, but those eyes, wide and unblinking, were far too real. Then slowly, a crooked, unfamiliar smile appeared on the face outside. Alex froze. Fear gripped him completely, and he stumbled back, heart pounding, unable to comprehend what he was seeing. The following nights brought worse disturbances. Objects in his apartment would shift slightly when he wasn't looking, the lights would flicker, and sometimes he heard soft footsteps or whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. He tried to convince himself it was exhaustion, imagination, or stress, but even in daylight, the unease lingered. One day while walking to work, an old woman sitting near his building stopped him. She fixed her piercing eyes on him and whispered, "You need to be careful with windows, they take people." Alex laughed nervously, trying to brush her off, but her words planted seeds of doubt and fear he could not shake. Night after night, the figure returned. Alex would secure the windows, pull the curtains tightly, and leave the lights on, yet the shadowy version of himself always appeared. Sometimes it seemed closer, almost pressing against the glass, urging him to open the door. Its whispered words were chilling, "Let me in, let me take your place." Alex's mind began to fray under the relentless psychological pressure. At work, he saw the same terrifying reflection in mirrors and glass doors, even in his computer screens. Friends and coworkers noticed he was withdrawn, exhausted, and haunted, and when they suggested he see a doctor, Alex knew it wasn't a hallucination, this was something else entirely. He started digging into the apartment's history and discovered that years ago, a young man had mysteriously disappeared from the building. Rumor had it that his spirit became trapped in the reflections and windows of the apartment, seeking a living person to replace him. Alex realized the horrifying truth, the figure at the window was not just a ghost, it was the missing man, a shadowy doppelganger who wanted to take over his life. Slowly, the shadow tried to cross over from the window into his apartment. One night, the glass shattered as if it could no longer contain it. Alex saw his other self enter halfway into the room, identical in every way except for the empty darkness in its eyes and that terrifying crooked smile. Desperate, Alex pulled out a cross that had belonged to his mother and held it in front of him. The figure screamed and vanished, leaving only shattered glass and a cold, eerie silence. But this victory was temporary. The shadow had learned, it had grown stronger, and soon it began appearing more frequently, sometimes outside, sometimes in mirrors, sometimes in reflections on streetlights or shiny surfaces. People who saw Alex at times reported strange differences, small details that seemed off, his eyes too wide, his movements slightly unnatural, his smile wrong. The boundary between the real Alex and the shadow version blurred. The doppelganger was no longer just a reflection, it was attempting to replace him completely. The nights became a constant battleground. The shadow would whisper, scream, sometimes even mimic Alex's voice, trying to lure him into opening the window. One night, in the dead of darkness, it finally managed to break through completely. The apartment shook as if the walls themselves feared the presence. The two Alexes faced each other, mirror images of one another. Furniture toppled, glass shattered, and a red haze of panic and fear filled the room. They struggled violently, a clash of living against supernatural, real against unreal. After what felt like an eternity, one figure fell through the broken window, crashing to the street below, leaving the other standing amidst the wreckage. Morning came, and the neighbors rushed in to check on the apartment. Only one Alex remained, alive but battered, barely conscious. Relief washed over them, but when Alex opened his eyes, the faintest, most unnatural smile began to curl across his lips, a crooked, unfamiliar smile. And in that moment it was impossible to tell, had the real Alex survived, or had the shadow succeeded in taking his place entirely? The apartment was silent once more, but the chilling thought lingered in every reflection, every window, every mirror. The shadow was still out there, waiting, patient, and ready to return whenever it found its next chance. And for Alex, or whoever remained, the terror was far from over, because some reflections never let go, and some windows never stop watching.
If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe our channel, give a like and share it with others who love suspense and thrill. And most importantly, turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next chilling tale. Your support means everything.